Welcome everyone to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host Rick Head, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's up?
Not too much, just getting ready for a busy, fun weekend.
Yeah, that's right. We have Elimination Chamber matches this Saturday, guys. And, of course, from the Skeleton Realms, he's the Lord Skeleton himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's shaking?
Not much, fans. We've got bad news, we've got worse news, and then there's the Elimination Chamber.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, we have to get through the bad news first, unfortunately. Yesterday, Jerry Jarrett passed away from complications of throat cancer. He was 80 years old. Throughout the decades, Jarrett worked with several different promotions. Then in 2002, Jarrett was a head writer booker for TNA, and that's when they were NWA's TNA. At the time, Jerry's son Jeff Jarrett was working with TNA, and that's when things started to go sour between the two. Is they constantly started arguing, went head to head, butted heads on what TNA should be. Then in 2005, Jerry left the company, and he had not spoken to Jeff since 2015. That's been 10 years, Joe.
Yes, let's go. Lance can probably fill you in more. I know Jerry Jarrett as well. He was one of the best You want to talk about great promoters. There was Dusty Rose. There was Eddie Graham in Florida. There is Jim Crockett Jr., and you go down that line, and Jerry Jarrett would be the top guy from the Memphis territory. He, you know what? I hate to sound so fucked up, but that's me. You people have listened to me enough. The wrong Jarrett passed away. It's obvious Jerry was the best promoter ever. He helped. Lance will fill you in on it. He helped with the whole Jerry Lawler and the Kaufman feud. But my God, what a great person to learn from. Him and Jeff have had issues. That's not really secretive, but honestly, I wish some of that very great promoting would have rubbed off on his son Jeff, because Jeff was never in that same level. He wasn't great as a worker. He wasn't great as a promoter when he ran Global Force and TNA. In fact, Lance, I'm going to throw this to you. Wasn't also Jerry Jarrett in line to run WWE if Vince McMahon would have gotten indicted on those steroid charges?
That is 100% true. If Vince would have been convicted of the steroid trial in the 90s, he was the one Vince handpicked to run WWE in his absence.
Now, Lance, he also worked again a lot of Southern territories, as Joe mentioned. I believe he also, did NWA and World Class Championship Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. I think he actually wrestled in WCCW at one time before he got into the
promotion managing.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't even there
with Tojo Yamamoto.
Right.
Okay, because I remember, I thought, as obviously a lot of the wrestling community has, sent their condolences, and P.S. Michael Hayes actually said, Jerry Jarrett was one of the best guys in the world, and I wanted to thank them for, allowing him to use the Freebirds opening music.
Yeah.
And they were from World Class Championship Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken.
They were, but that happened in the Mid-South Coliseum when the Freebirds came to, it was either CWA or USWA.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the CWA back in that territory. It's Jerry only wrestled for World Class. He was never really anything else, because that was Fritz's territory. Fritz von Erich, the famous father of the Von Erichs. But Jerry, Jerry's done a lot in the business. I mean, you cannot stop and praise this man. He was the and when it comes to the Southern Territory, he was the man. And again, I wish his son would have learned the business properly from him.
And this has come from somebody from Memphis. The only reason Jeff Jarrett is where he is because he is the standard definition of fucking nepotism.
Yep.
Yeah, when it comes to Jeff Jarrett, I've never really been a fan. Obviously, he's famous enough where different promotions are giving him shots or spots. He's went back and forth to WWE. He's now in AEW. Why, I don't know. But
he needed a paycheck.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
But did Tony Khan need the paycheck? That's a question.
Well, Tony Khan would probably give this guy a ham sandwich just to keep Karen happy.
Yeah, because Karen needs more lip injections.
Yeah, oh, God.
Oh, wow. That's
now, Mike's question is, which lips are we talking about here?
I don't know. I've heard of tummy tucks. I've heard of boob jobs. I've never heard of certain lips, the lower extremities having being fixed.
Don't you like it, Lance, when he fixes the shit I start?
Well, I just have to, fix things here. Unfortunately, that's my job here.
See, that's why I say he's the warden of this freaking asylum.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm the one who has to open the doors, though.
And I'm the lifer here.
All right, we're gonna move along.
Moving right along.
There is now speculation that CM Punk may not be leaving AEW after all. Back after the All Out match, apparently CM Punk tore his pec during his AEW championship against Jon Moxley. Tony Khan has left it in CM Punk's hands if he wants to try to make amends and try to return to the company, or if he wants to leave. Now, Punk has always been known to send kind of mixed messages, and so over the weekend, Punk shared a video of a man who was talking about apology, and this was from actually Ice-T's Instagram profile, and it said this: I've forgiven a lot of people. I love them from a distance because it's safe for me to love them from a distance. Forgive you doesn't mean you get to sit in the chair with me. You did me wrong. You did some foul stuff, man. You played me dirty. You left me hanging. Now I forgive you, but that doesn't mean you can hang out with me. So, Lance.
Oh, do da day.
Yeah, pretty much. Lance, that pretty much is like a weird way of Punk saying, "Okay, I forgive you," but I don't really know what to make of that, really.
Well, if he does come back, and this is something that Jerry Jarrett would do, if he does come back, they need to have, as crazy as it would sound, have Punk versus the Elite, because on Jerry Jarrett's wall always said, personal issues draw money. And hot damn if Punk and the Elite don't have a big fucking personal issue.
Okay, you are fairly right about that, but again, it was still not even sure if Punk is coming back. It just rose speculation.
Yeah.
If he does come back, he should be fully healed by the May. So, but you know what, Joe? Lance does have a good point. Good feuds makes big money, but would this be too much personal, especially be three guys on one guy, with just Punk? I don't think they're going to bring Ace Steel back for this.
No, you know what? I agree with Lance, and let's bite off Eric Bischoff here. Controversy creates cash. It is true what Lance was just saying. Sometimes the little bit of, rivalry between these two would work, but Punk is a worker. The Elite are the bosses to a point. They can dictate the match. Punk can either go along with it or not go along with it because they're the executive VP still. Okay? they will make it seem like, yeah, forgive and forget. They'll let him get his shots in, but guess who's counting the lights? Problem with a rivalry like this is, one, yes, there is so much of the 3 versus 1, but then you got the FTR who will favor Punk, so you'll still have the 3 versus 3. I think in a situation like this, it will become way too personal behind the scenes than what you see in the ring. Nobody's going to want to sell for each other. No one's going to take a loss. No one's going to, even for the good of the business. I think FTR would say, look, I don't care, pin me, but I don't see that happening on the elite side. And the we actually seen the elite take losses to like Death Triangle and other people. But I think in a situation with Punk, Rick, I don't think that chemistry or the egos are going to allow it to let them work bygone with bygone. They'll work with the FTR, but I don't think they'll work with Punk. And I could see Kenny Omega having issues. And I think this is a headache more than hard cash.
I agree, and even still, even if for some reason, if the Young Bucks and Omega said, you know what, yeah, let's try to shake hands, work this out. I'm not even sure if Punk is the type of guy, because Punk's not the type of guy who just shake hands and be all friendly. I think the message, if that's what he's trying to say, is like, yeah, okay, I'll work with you guys, I'll, but I am not going to work with you. I'll be in the same company. Is probably the better way to say it, Joe. You know.
You know, I would agree with that. I think if it'll come down to, I want my own locker room because I don't want to see them.
He already had his own locker room, but yes.
Yeah.
But it'll be the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels syndrome all over again. And eventually you can only keep people so far apart with storylines, with with championships. Eventually it's going to come down to the Dusty Rhodes type scenarios. Like, I want my belt and I want this. And because Dusty Rhodes was famous for it, and Lance could probably fill you in.
Yeah.
He was very, if you crossed him, he would take championship belts back, for himself. So we're kind of in that land, Rick, that is it really worth the money to put these two egos, and I say that specifically, these two factions of egos, um, side by side, because obviously it's going to be one headache after another. So I just don't see it being worth. Eventually, they have to meet because there's no way you can live without bumping into each other behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and I don't care how cordial you are, it will be one of those things that one misstep, the Wayward Son music, and granted, I'm not saying Punk is innocent here, but sometimes the Bucks and Omega can be a little bit juvenile. They can be the assholes if they want to.
Well, the funny thing is, I was actually reading a couple of articles, and Cody Rhodes actually spoke out about for Punk, and he actually said that he never had a problem with Punk. He actually liked Punk. He liked him when he was working in WWE, and he was really excited when he came to Impact, AEW. So it kind of, I thought, that him speaking the way he did, he goes, yeah, it was a great guy. We had, would eat lunch together and this and that, but he never really said anything ill towards either the Bucks, or Omega or anybody else. So it seems to be like there are certain people that are friends with both. Like you said, FDR, yes, or I think it's more Dax Howard is more leaning towards CM Punk favor. So
yeah, honestly, I think the only reason Cody said that because he's used to Punk. He's been with Punk in WWE. He's in that state that, yeah, you know what, I've dined with the devil in the pale moonlight, and I know how he is, and yes, he can be an asshole at times, but you can grow on. I think it's a different animal when you have people who are direct indies like the Bucks and Omega compared to career WWE people. And yes, Punkis has been in the indies, but not too long. And Cody really, I don't think he ever was in the indies. So next until he left WWE.
Yeah, well, I mean, he really after that he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I wouldn't really call that an indies. I mean, some people would agree, some people would disagree, but I still think, considering it's in a different country, working one of the biggest promotions in the country, I think that was pretty much. I could say that's Japan's version of WWE. That's the biggest company, you know, overseas. But then yes, he eventually started AEW, and you could call that an indies. It's still in indies level. It's not WWE level, but nevertheless, they're making money and they're doing well. But you know what, we're gonna move along to another subject. A lot of people have noticed that the Good Brothers have not been seen on WWE TV over the past several weeks. Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful said the Good Brothers have a clause in their contract stating that if WWE won't use them, they don't have to show up. Now, Lance, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it is wrestling is a contract-based business, and let's face it, the last time the Good Brothers were in the WWE, they got fucked by their contract. So they put this in there. You know what? Good for them.
You know what? I have to agree with you. And Joe, we talked about this a little bit before the show, and you think it's great to have that contract, but why do you think a lot of other wrestlers don't have that, that kind of benefit where they have to show up regardless each and every week, despite how many times they lose or are not used?
Well, you know what? And I said this before the show. The Good Brothers are such a unique team. They want to work. Individuals, even if they don't get used on camera or whatever at all, don't mind staying home and making that WWE money. It's commendable. Like I said, when you told me about that, I was like, wow, they really are into that. I'm like, they really want to do that. Holy shit! And who would have thought? You know, it is. It's surprising to see people willing to want to work. First of all, that they want to get in there and work, but a lot of perfect example, the Iron Sheik in WCW in the I think in the 1992, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
They kept him home. What, Lance, like a year or two before they realized that they couldn't do anything with him, and he didn't complain.
Yeah, but the question is, were you getting paid yearly or were you paid by show?
Yeah.
No, you were getting paid and like a salary. You
Oh.
were getting paid monthly from that contract.
Because I know
in a WWE scenario, I don't know how their contract is today, but I know the old way of doing it is if you work, you got your pay. And if you didn't, you get what is called, I forgot, Lance, what it was it called, the hat pay, where any money that's left over you got from the show. So honestly, it is they're making good money, but, and I say but, if they're not being used, that's the whole preference here is wrestling. They want to be in wrestling. They don't want to be sitting on their asses.
Yeah.
And guess what? Again, commendable. Not many people want to do that. Just give me my fucking paycheck and I'll go home. If you're not going to use me. Honestly, again, I'm very surprised. I'm flabbergasted.
And with Sheik, and I'm listening to a couple of shoot interviews with people that were in the office at that time, they kept forgetting he was on the payroll.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
No, literally.
Hey, Bubba, give me my paycheck, Bubba.
Yeah, he didn't care. He was making money regardless. That's what I'm saying. He didn't go, and when they did use him, he didn't give you jobbed him or anything. He's like, that's give me my money, and I'm going, Wow, there's people actually want to fucking work in this society.
Well, I guess if you, I mean, a lot of wrestlers have said that they would rather work than stay home. Um, Bobby Roode, when he first signed with WWE, he actually said that he still loved Impact or TNA, whichever one you want to call it, but he
I
wasn't
like
working.
TNA too. I look at my wife, her TNAs all the time.
Well, I'm sure Bobby Roode was not looking at your wife's TNA, so.
He better not.
All right then. But the issue was is that it wasn't really so much of not getting paid. It was he wasn't working enough. He spent more time at home than he was at work, and he was like, "Fuck this." And there was really no other options unless we want to go in the indies. So WWE was the obvious answer to go. So.
And nowadays he could do the indies and freaking get a paycheck bigger than what he was making in WWE in a month.
Yeah, pretty much. Unfortunately, he's still in WWE right now, but again, I don't think they're using him much, if at all.
I think he's recovering from a shoulder injury.
Oh, okay.
Is he still teaming with Ziggler?
I thought he was for a while last I checked, but that was about a month or two ago when I looked. But I honestly don't know. It shows you how well I follow WWE because since now I'm watching.
I heard he had basically the same injury Cody had, just not quite as bad.
Ah, okay.
Hmm.
Well, let's move along. The TBS champion, Jade Cargill, won her 50th consecutive match. During her time in AEW, Jade Cargill has spent her time fighting basically mid to low card wrestlers. During a recent interview with Liam Crowley from comicbooks.com, Jade said she wants to take on some more tougher women in the AEW roster in the near future. She stated that she would like to face people like Britt Baker or Saraya. That's a mistake. And I think she in short she pretty much said that she still wants to have a few more goals she wants to do before she pushes that, but that seems to be the next step. Joe, let me ask you this, okay? Cargill, been obviously dominant despite who she's been facing. But if she goes up to start facing somebody like Saraya, do you really think Soraya's going to put her over?
Oh, you know what? It depends on the situation, honestly, because right now Jade is really hot right now. She is getting a following. She is building up her skills, and Soraya's been there. She's again. I'm not gonna go into the whole rant of how I hate that fucking slutty. Oh, I'm back. No, go get it fucked in the back, lady. In this scenario, it doesn't do Jade Cargill any reason to be even stooping to the level of dealing with that little slut. Jade is doing great. She's learning as she goes, and I can understand the enthusiasm. She wants to be in that level. She wants to improve her game. Now, going up against someone like Britt Baker, oh hell, that'll be great. Britt is like the Charlotte Flair, no pun intended, but she is the Charlotte Flair of AEW. She's like the Becky Lynch, the Bailey, and all of these high level girls.
Chick.
She's the top chick that you want to go up against. And if you don't botch a match, then hey, that's a win. For a fact, you go in a match with Saraya, you're either gonna get your neck broken, you're gonna get your back broken, something's gonna be fucked, and your matches are gonna fucking suck. So now that they turned a little slut heel, again, it doesn't fit Jade Cargill's MO right now because she's also a heel. So I think honestly they will just pass that because they know Jade Cargill is really strong and she could legitimately hurt someone. So I think that's a mistake on her part wanting to go up against someone like Saraya. I think it's just I want to go up against a former WWE person. I think that's the only reason that she's willing to throw up that name because imagine she could beat the piss out of that little twit and add it to her resume. And if she could, break her neck.
Just throw that out there. Lance, let me ask you: if you could pick one person to face Jade Cargill, who would it be?
Hmm. Well, I'd like to see what Thunder could do with her.
Thunder Rosa, again, another great choice. But again, right now she's kind of a heel. Another person I thought would be nice to fight with. My personal pick is Jamie Hayter. Now I know for obvious reason it's not fallible because Jamie Hayter's the AEW Women's Champion and Jade Cargill is the Women's TBS Champion.
Rick, you say that, and that actually sounds like a fucking great match right there because it's the two women that have two different championships that they can make their championships even bigger because you got to look at the TNT title, TBS title that Jade Cargill has, and it's kind of the secondary belt, if you will, in AEW's women division. What a way to elevate that belt if you can beat the champion. You don't have to beat her for her belt, but you can fucking beat her in a defense and say, hey, yeah, you know what? I now can be the next in line.
So I thought of somebody that they have to build her, but I think these two could elevate that TNT title or TBS title. Jade Cargill and Abaddon.
I like Abaddon, and I think she has promise, but unfortunately she can't get out of dark.
Yeah.
And that's her biggest issue, and they would have to really push her hard.
Mm-hmm.
Rick, I think there's one person underrated that would be fun to watch, and I say that, wouldn't be a 5-star classic like Dave Meltzer would say.
Okay.
But I think if given the right opportunity and the right training and the right, push, this girl she's getting a following. I think has it. She still has to develop more. Willow Nightingale.
Yeah. I like Willow Nightingale. She has definitely been showing on, especially that tag team they had a couple of weeks ago in Dynamite. Wow. And she really she made a fan out of me. Let's put it that way.
Yep. So imagine her. She's learning also as she goes. What a great opportunity to boost her, and at the same time, like don't make her lose. Make some schmaz where both girls can look good and they come back for more. That's what makes a championship match. That's what makes two wrestlers almost in the equal level playing field. Because let's face it, Jade Cargill is Superwoman. Her build, her looks, her promos need a little bit more help, but she's got it. I would say at a scale of 1 to 10, she's got probably a 7 or 8. Yeah. Willow's trailing right behind, not too far. She's probably a 6 and 7 because she needs the promo skills. Ring work a little bit more, but I think these two girls together can do a hell of a match. And imagine if the baddies decide, well, you know what? She's kind of a nice person. We don't want to mess with her. That scenario. I think it would work. I don't want to see what's her name. I forgot her name. The former, God, I can't remember her name now. It's the black chick with the mohawk that came from WWE. I can't remember her.
Athena.
Athena, thank you. I was thinking of her other name.
Well, I guess Athena already faced her, and again, Athena lost. Yeah. Athena,
right.
I don't know. For some reason, Athena is just kind of gone downhill.
She's another one that's heel now too. So
I believe so. Yeah, but they had fought each other, a couple of months ago, and she lost hard. She went down. The only person I could think that would be another good match to see is Hikaru Shida.
Yes.
I think she was 2-time AEW Women's Champion. I know she won it once. I'm not sure if she won it twice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I think also she's never held that TBS title. So that's another plus on her side to kind of get that going. So, another thing too, I think given a little bit more time, I could see, and this is a very big stretch, but with the outfits, the costumes that she wears, this is a girl that could be in a Marvel movie. I when I see Jade Cargill, I see her come out like Chitara from the Thundercats, or she came as other heroes. That shows character development. That shows somebody's teaching her the proper way to get herself over. So I love Jade Cargill. I hope she goes on to a bigger things like WWE if it's still around.
Well, I think right now I would rather have Jade Cargill in AEW than over in WWE. Because WWE, I think she'd get lost fast. I don't think she would get the push that she has now. There'd be
Oh
too
no,
many other women
they'll
who would just
bury her.
exactly. So it's like, why bother? That's what I love about AEW. It's like you're having all these other wrestlers who, yes, are mixed in with ex-WWE wrestlers, but they're rising up. MJF, for one case, he's like right now the top heel in the place.
You know what? We brung up you brung up MJF. I actually did do some research over the weekend, and I was trying to compare exactly promo wise, character wise, who MJF nails completely. And if you guys, I encourage you to check it out. Look at AWA in the '80s with Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah.
Him, and in a heel Roddy Piper from the early '80s. Oh my God, they nailed MJF nails them.
He reminded me more of like the Miz, honestly.
No, Miz is good, but I think in pure like heel, Miz is entertaining to in a sorts. He doesn't really like. Let's face it, freaking MJF really like lays it thick. He would go out of his way to make you want to hate him. Larry Zbyszko of the '80s wants you to hate him. You know, Roddy Piper when he was a villain. Oh my God, he would tell you off, and especially if you ever see the house shows where there's no cameras, like this not live on TV. Here's Roddy Piper back in the excuse me, early '80s called Bruno Sammartino the biggest, Italian icon in wrestling at the time. A derogatory name. He called him a bad Italian name. I'm not going to repeat it because huh?
Or when he was working for the California office, he was up against the Guerreros, and he said, "Please stand for the Mexican national anthem."
Yes.
On the bagpipes, he played La Cucaracha.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah. Oh man.
Over to and let's do this too, guys. Let's wish a 50th anniversary. Oh, should I say 50th birthday to Terry 3G? Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Terry!
Birthday. Terry, he's in the chat room. He says, "Oh, I almost slept through this and missed the afternoon. Oh, you can't sleep through this. You gotta take us in. We're kind of that Wednesday meal that you gotta have that breaks you out of your diet."
Well, Terry, you know what? While we were talking about Jade Cargill, and she was talking about wanting to move up in the ranks and kind of stop fighting all the mid and low jobbers, and now she wants to fight names like Britt Baker or Saraya. So what would you think would be a good idea? Who would you like to see Jade Cargill fight? And while he's doing that, guys, we do have one other topic I want to get to before we get to the Elimination Chamber matches. AEW Fight Forever has finally gotten their T rating. They have been struggling for several months just to try to get this approval. And while there's still no release date officially set, it's believed that Fight Forever will be released sometime in early April. Guys, I know it's coming soon. I just want to have the actual date so that way I can say this is when it's coming. It kind of reminds me like, when I was a young kid, or when, a Grand Theft Auto game was coming out, or when I know a lot of people liked Halo. You know, people line up around it. So just waiting for this game. But for me, Fight Forever, I'm really looking forward to it, guys.
And being a gamer myself, I got the WWE 2K games, and they're hit and miss. Depends on what's your flavor. Honestly, I think some things held back AEW. Like they have too much extra gore. I guess probably Rick, you said Molotov cocktails. I think in the instance they, push the ratings because nobody can get their product. It's not WWE who they know. Okay, yes, campy shoot, but we know what they do, and AEW is so new, especially if the game market, that they don't want to push out a game either that turned out to be, my God, like TNA Impact's lousy fucking game.
Oh God!
Oh,
Don't remind me. I had to pay full price for that stupid thing.
Yeah.
You know.
That's one of the last video games I played.
Here's a funny thing. When I got that game, it was in New York City when I was still living in New York. That game, you could have bought it at Funko Land. For you guys that ever heard of a Funko Land, it was at the time a game distributor, and you go in and trade games. It's similar. It was unique because it was one of its kind. Now everybody kind of does it. But my God, I saw it and it was like, yeah, you want it $4.99 because it was returned so many times. And I'm like, yeah, $4.99. Okay, fuck, it's a wrestling game. I'll check it out. How bad can it be? An hour later of pure screaming and breaking the DVD in half, that it is that bad. So I don't think they want to push that same product out. And I think that was their first and last game Impact ever did. Anybody else now?
Got Joe. Can you just take over? I'm gonna have to step away for a second.
Oh yeah, sure. Lance, you know what? Let's talk about the game. You played at TNA Impact. Anything you want to throw in there, that you were surprised at? Because that, again, for another company,
the gameplay
non-WWE.
was. The storyline was okay, but the gameplay was dog shit. I literally beat the whole game by picking up a chair and bashing people in the head over and over and over and over until I got the 1, 2, 3.
Oh, so you played an ECW game. You played basically ECW.
No, that was worse than that.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Folks, while we wait on Rick to come back, honestly, I think we can talk about like the video games here. We can go a little bit. Let's go over to the YouTube chat room. Terry thanks us for wishing them happy birthday. He said Jade fighting Red Velvet was, I believe, a precursor to her fighting higher tier wrestlers. At least to him. I like to see Jade and Chris Statlander. That's a name, Lance, we didn't even mention.
She's got to come back from injury.
Yeah, but hopefully. And Terry says, yes, no doubt Lance quit gaming after playing that and went to the Mac. Enough said. In fact, Terry seen me play.
Sorry, folks, about that. Go ahead, Joe.
No problem. Terry even see me play Legends of Wrestling 2, where I was learning the game, and the only move I can honestly pull off, I could pull off a couple moves, but the pile driver constantly repeating was my winning ticket. So besides hitting people with chairs and the pile driver, that's how I won a lot of matches.
Now the thing I haven't realized, do they have blood and guts in this match for AEW Fight Forever? I'm not sure if they do or not.
They probably would. You know what? That's probably was another reason for the holdback, because they probably threw in a lot of other things too, Rick. They probably threw in mixed matches where the women are fighting the men, and they probably have death matches with barbed wire. you know, something that hasn't been seen in not even ECW for all its insane, ways of doing gaming, or should I say their shows. Their games really did not reflect much of the ECW
No.
lifestyle, the gameplay, or should I say the real show. It was kind of tame.
Yeah.
So can you imagine the exploding ring? That's something that is not normal in the game.
Or
So
New Jet doing a line of cocaine in the back.
Yeah.
that was probably an unlockable.
Yeah. No shit. So I mean, AEW also did talk about there'll be other stuff that's gonna be released with this after this game's done. So if they don't have that, blood and guts, I hope they do at least release it at some point in time.
Hmm.
All right, guys, we're gonna get over finally to the Elimination Chamber, which is this Saturday, and they only have 4 matches, including the 2 Elimination Chamber matches. Um, the first one is a women's elimination chamber where Natalia, Asuka, Liv Morgan, Rachel Rodriguez, Nikki Cross, and Carmella will compete where the winner will face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. So the real question is who would really have a chance to face, and maybe even beat Bianca Belair. I don't see Belair losing anytime soon, but if I had to put my personal pick, guys, I would say it would be Asuka. I don't know about you, Lance.
The way they're pushing her, I 100% agree with you, boss.
All right, Joe, over to you.
Yeah, I got it. She went back to reviving her old gimmick from straight from Japan. So that's the most safe bet out of that whole women's chamber. You know, I think that's the best. I'm looking at the picture now. You've got Natalia, the MILF of the fucking that of the WWE. You've got Liv Morgan, the failed experiment. You got Rodriguez, who is not ready for that. Nikki Cross, it's such a shame they don't just let her flip out and go.
They are letting her flip out, but I don't think she's winning this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I agree.
And then you've got Carmella, who looks,
Like plastic.
Yeah.
Or
She's a Barbie girl in
Yeah.
the Barbie world.
All right. Well, on to the next one is the men's elimination chamber match, and Austin Theory will have to defend his United States Championship against Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. So that I don't think we've ever seen a United States Championship being defended inside of Elimination Chamber, Joe.
You know what? I think Bobby Lashley defended his belt once.
Was that for the IC or was the US?
Maybe it was the IC. I'm not too sure, but I know it's been done. Could you put the graphic up? Because I'm looking and I don't see the graphic up. I want to just look at everybody.
It's up there now, so it's probably.
Hold on, there you go. Okay. I don't see. I don't. It's gonna come down to Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. I don't see Gargano. I don't see Priest. I don't see Montez staying in there long. The big brute guy, I don't see him staying in there. He looks fucking like Rush's brother. I don't see him staying in there.
Rush is a badass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this guy is like the bad apple of that family. He's a bad rhino. I don't know where he came from, and who cares? He can go back to parking cars. He can go cut my grass too if he wants to. If you look at the picture here, it's going to be Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is a top tier guy in this.
Okay.
And I think you're going to see him in Theory. They're going to rekindle that feud. I don't think they should not take the belt off of Theory. Rollins doesn't need it. Priest doesn't need it. The other 3 jabronis don't need it. honestly, they need to keep that belt away from Seth Rollins, because if it ends up in Seth Rollins' hands, then he could tease Cody Rhodes. Because let's face it, Cody's dad Dusty did held the United States Championship. Granted, it was the NWA slash WCW belt, Jim Crockett Promotions title, but I don't think Cody's going to go that route. So in this case, Austin Theory needs to secure this belt. He needs to. They need to keep it on him, and they need to. Thank you. Terry says that big guy looks like a jobber from Impact. He'll probably be a superstar in Impact. So,
I think he actually might have been from Impact. I think he went to
oh,
Impact.
He was.
oh, geez, here we go. Then, yeah, then it's gone. Then he doesn't deserve to be there. Get the fuck out of there. He should be the
No, yeah,
first
he
one
went to
in.
Impact. He was in Impact only for a year, but he was spent most of his time. Uh, he was it started in WWE in 2019, and in 2021 he was released due to all the mass releases WWE was doing at the time. And then he went over to New Japan. He was over there for a year. Came back to the U.S. where he wrestled for Impact for like less than a year.
Yeah,
So,
no wonder. No wonder I don't care for him. He just looks like he just smelled a bad fart, and he's just like, who did this? Everybody looks at Damien. You know, again, there's no way that jobber is gonna win that.
well, you know what? Honestly, I thought that Damian Priest would have had a good shot at this title, but that's just me, guys. Lance, over to you.
I think if Damian Priest is in the top three, because one, they need to keep that belt away from Seth, mainly because he could use it to antagonize Cody, which I'm sorry, that angle needs to be put aside for a while, because it went long enough for right now. And I kind of hear that Theory is supposed to be working with Cena at Mania, which we don't need to see another fucking U.S. spinner belt again. So
Oh
I
God.
kind of hope they give it to Priest.
All right. And like I said, that's personally was my personal pick. Will it actually happen? Well, WWE's a silly kind of promotion. You never know what the hell they're gonna do.
Yeah.
The next match is gonna be in it will be Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor. So to me, this is gonna be a sleeper. I really have no interest in this match at all. Lance, what about you?
Well, and don't forget they'll have County Jail Dom out there.
Yeah.
But
You leave the Spanish version of Nails out of this.
I'm giving it to Beth and Edge. Why? I don't fucking know.
Well, honestly, I would have thought, Joe, you did mention, but I honestly thought that he would have taken Finn Balor's place, considering that how close that him and Rhea Ripley's been going. I'm referring to Dominic Mysterio. But I don't know. Anyways, what's your take on this match?
I would like to take it and throw it in the trash, personally. Because,
Yeah, you and me both.
I think Ripley's being misused. Here, she's the Royal Rumble Women's winner. She can move on to better things. She doesn't need this match, and we don't need Xena over there looking, Warrior Princess or Warrior Maiden with Brokeback Shaggy doing anything.
Boy, Scoob.
Yeah, let's not go into that. Fucking HBO Thelma fucking sucks. Thank you, Woke Nation.
That's Joe at ScoldingShow.com.
No, I
I got it in.
Gee, and I thought the night was young. But anyway. Yeah, unfortunately, Rick, I'm going to have to go with Lance on this. They're going to give it to the power couple. They're going to give it to these two just to keep them happy, just so they can collect their Social Security, just so he can get out and say he finally got back at his former stable. And I mean,
Yeah,
I have nothing against them both, but you know,
they should have lost. This is a match they should lose, no question.
they should lose just
Mm-hmm.
to keep Rhea Ripley's momentum going. The sad part of this is you got to have a winner and you got to have a loser. And I think in this case, Finn Balor's going to take the loss just to keep Rhea strong for her WrestleMania match.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I could possibly see that. Um, well, and then of course we have Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. 3,000. This is like I don't know how many times these two have fought, and I've pretty much lost count.
Too damn many.
Yeah, pretty much. Uh, and this is not even for a title or nothing. This is just a match, so you can tell this is definitely a sleeper match. Uh, I I'll say Brock's gonna win, just to throw it out there. Joe, over to you.
You know, unless the only way to make this damn interesting, it would be if they were how can I put this? If it was for an MMA style type, kid gloves are off, let's just go in there and let's fucking fight type match. This should not be, honestly, this should not be a regular match. This should have been a stipulation. This should have been something steel cage. Because are they in the cage or no? I'm sorry
No.
if I missed that. It's just a regular match. Yeah, no. That's no. I want an MMA style match where these two have to fucking prove each other. Let's go full tilt. Let's let them fight like they're both from MMA. They both been champions in their respected companies. Because Lashley was in Bellator. Brock, we all know he's in UFC.
You know,
Why not let them fight like that? Let's for God's sake, they did the fucking brawl for all many moons ago,
yep.
and these two can take real hits. Pay
Well,
them both and say go in there and say, hey, we're gonna give you a little extra. Kind of bruise yourself up, make it look fucking real.
yeah. Well, honestly, if you ask me, I think if they just did a submission match, I think that would have made things a little bit more interesting. I don't know about you, Lance.
Well, here's what my idea was, but I don't know how they would work it being at Elimination Chamber. I don't know how they work this structure too, but put them in the fight pit.
And again, yeah, that would another option, but I don't think they're taking too much into it. It's just like shit. We need an extra match, and Lesnar needs to work an extra show for his contract. So here you go. We'll just throw that in there, and that just feels like pretty much what it was. They didn't have anything interesting, so we're just gonna just throw these two in. There you go. Have a nice day.
Let's get these two happy and just go in there and and let's do it. Honestly, I also will say this: I would put if anybody's gonna walk away as a winner in here. I want to see Lashley. It's funny as it sounds because Bobby Lashley is still working full time. I think he's going back to the Hurt business if he hasn't gone back now. Sorry, folks, I haven't seen WWE, so that will make the better sense because Brock doesn't need that win. Lashley does, and that will kind of push if you want to do a rematch for a higher stakes later, then do it because then you could say, you know what, these two want to fight at WrestleMania and they're going to go in a cage and they're going to pummel each other, MMA rules, whatever. That's how you do it. So give it to Lashley. Let's please put this horrible match aside and let's hope that they come up with something else.
Yeah, Terry 3G also sees that now. That Bobby, looked good in it, but he also thinks that it's something this match can go to Brock, and unfortunately, that's just how it all seems to go to. But now we're on the main event, where it's gonna be Roman Reigns will face Sami Zayn for his undisputed Universal Championship. Now, I don't know if it says WWE Undisputed Championship, but is that just the Universal, or is that both titles?
That's both.
Okay, because that's where I kind of always got lost. Now, honestly, I don't see Sami Zayn winning this. I see him coming close, but I think at the end of the day, the rest of the Usos are the the
The fight,
tribal, the
the
bloodline,
tribal, yeah.
the bloodline will jump in and have a say in it, and that'll, like give secure Roman Reigns a win. That's my thoughts. I don't know about you, Lance.
As much as I like Sami Zayn, he got about a snowball's chance in hell of winning this match.
Yep, pretty much my thoughts. Joe, over to you.
This boy is gonna get beaten or pillar to post. There's no reason why he should, and I say that should even give Roman any sort of fight. He should get a couple little hits, yeah, you know. But no, Sammy, you're outclassed here. You should not even be in this match. I could see it. I can see Roman give him his due, being nice, let him have his little fun in the sun. But it is going to come down to Roman beating him, and then the bloodline comes into the cage, beats him more down. Jay's going to be like, damn, let's beat the poor man up even more. And then you're going to see Kevin Owens and whoever else run in to try to help. That's the best way to put this scenario. That's how I see it. And honestly, it's the smart play with this type of match because you want to keep Sammy strong, but you don't want to give him a belt. So that's the best way. Roman's going to beat him. Bloodline's going to get in and beat down on him. Somebody's going to make the save, most likely Owens, and whoever else is feuding with the Bloodline. And that's pretty much it, Rick. This is the weakest world title match I've ever seen.
Yeah, you know what? I have to agree with you. This is just another one of these matches. It's like, why is this happening? I mean, this is something that should have happened on Raw or SmackDown. Okay, fine. And I mean, Sami Zayn is a great worker, but no way. No, would not put him next to Roman Reigns, especially on the title reign or the push that Roman Reigns has been getting over the past 2 years.
Yeah,
just doesn't make sense.
He's going to lose that belt at WrestleMania, most likely to Cody Rhodes. And honestly, Rick, I done putting Sammy in there as just a filler to get to WrestleMania and just to carry a little bit the storyline to give Sammy his little, chance at a main event. Honestly, I could see Sammy and Kevin Owens just going for the tag titles from the Usos and beating them.
Yeah, over in the chat room, Terry said he agrees that Reigns will retain unless they do some shocking factor thing and have him wind up red dropping into a Rowan. But he also said and it also should be a house show match. And you know what, Terry? I have to agree with you exactly. Yeah. This does not belong to be on a pay-per-view. So you know what, guys? We're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to thank Terry, of course, for showing up. For those of you who are listening, if you love HWR, hit that like button and hit that share button and let everybody share the Hardcore Wrestling Radio around. I'm your hardcore host for Rick. Don't mind me, sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, and I'd like to thank the hardcore crew. Joe, you're over at Skull and Realms. Tell everybody about it.
Definitely. Guys, check me out. Just do the hashtag Skullgents Realm. See, now I'm starting to get the old timers too. Basically, I do games from yesterday and today, from PC to console. I came across a new game that is being developed, and you can get the demo on Steam. It's called, let me yank that game up. Here I am. I'm talking about it. It's called Echoes of the Living. If you love Resident Evil, this is the fixed camera angles, survival horror of Resident Evil 1. I'm going to be playing that. It's just a demo until the full game comes out, but it's in the true classic Resident Evil setting. So you could call it a copy, you can call it a clone, but honestly, I think it's a great looking game. So everybody should check it out. I'll be doing the demo possibly tonight or tomorrow night.
All right, thank you for that, Joe. And then we have Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV. Lance, what do you got going on over there?
Right now, just Lance Moss TV and Friends coffee time every Tuesday night at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern, and putting out Redneck Gourmets when I can.
All right, well, there you have it. So for the Hardcore Crew, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Buy the shirt.
Buy the shirt, indeed.